Hello there guys, my name is Mr. Yorkie's World, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we have got another full flight video in the PMDG 737-700 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now originally the flight that we're going to be doing, which is from Gold Coast to Melbourne, is a 737-800, but obviously we don't have a PMDG 737-800 for Microsoft Flight Simulator at the time of making this video, so we're going to be using the -700 variant, and we're going to be checking out some very exciting new Orbx scenery for Melbourne City, which is going to be released tomorrow at the time of making this video, which is going to be the 10th of June 2022. I'm very lucky to have early access to this, courtesy of my friend Sante over at Orbx. I'm very, very excited to be showcasing it. So the approach that we're going to be taking should give us a pretty good look at the sort of cityscape in the background, and then in a future video I'm going to take a closer look, possibly a VFR flight around Melbourne City, just to get a closer look at things. But anyway, we can head into the cockpit now, and we can set up our flight, which is going to be a short flight today of 2 hours and 12 minutes approximately. We can set the parking brake, like so, and we can head over to the FMC. So FS actions, and the first thing we're going to do is put the fuel in. So today we're going to have 7,519 kilograms of fuel, so we can put that in there. And then what we want to do next is go over to the payload page, and let me just find the zero fuel weight from the SimBrief plan. So 53.4 is going to be our zero fuel weight today, so we can stick that in there. That's calculated everything for us as per the SimBrief plan, so we can continue with the overhead panel now. We can switch on the aft fuel pump. The ISO valve can go to auto, and we can start the APU. I'm going to arm the emergency lights as well and switch on the signs. As I said, it's going to be a nice short flight. There's only 2 hours and 12 minutes according to SimBrief, so that should be good. And of course the scenery that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be absolutely amazing, both departure and arrival. So IRSs are to nav now. And one thing I forgot to do is set the pressurization. So the cruise level today is going to be 380. There we go, 380 selected. And we can come down now and configure the FMC. So pausing it. And today we are at Yankee Bravo Charlie Golf. Where's Yankee? There it is. Yankee Bravo Charlie Golf. And I believe, I'm not sure if there's any signs, I don't know what gate we're at. I think it's gate 5. Let me just have a look on EFB, because I can't see anything in terms of signage. Yeah, gate 5, there we go. So gate 5, go ahead and get the GPSL position and stick it in there. And we can go to route. Now we've got a route set up already from SimBrief, so YBCG to YMML. And our departure runway is going to be runway 14 today. Actually no, we need to put the we need to click request first to actually get the flight plan information. So select, that's requesting the flight plan, then we'll put the runway in and the flight number and everything afterwards. So it's just a case of waiting for the flight plan to load. That can take a few seconds. There we go. We can load that in. So there we go, the route has successfully loaded into the FMC. I'm going to clear that, and let me just check to make sure. I believe it's a runway 14 departure, so we'll put 14, and our flight number today is going to be Victor Oscar Zulu 726. So Victor Oscar Zulu 726. Stick that in there, activate and execute. Moving on to the perf init, we can calculate the zero fuel weight, which is the 53.4 we had earlier. The reserves, I believe, are going to be 0.9 according to SimBrief. Let me just check that. Yeah, 0.9, so 0.9. And our cost index today, again, let me just check that, is going to be 25. 380 is going to be the cruise altitude for today, so execute that. Moving on to the N1 limit page, and we're going to be using a 22k D rate with flaps 5, work out the centre of gravity, which is 18.6, and we're going to select our departure. So it's going to be a runway 14 departure with the Apogee 5, and our arrival is going to be ILS runway 27, I believe, which is there, and the RB6 Alpha Star is going to be the one that we're going to be using with a Visas transition. And we can go to the legs page now, make sure there aren't any discontinuities, which there's not, that's fine. Going to go to the fix page and just put the usual radius rings that I put in most of my videos, which is 50, 100 and 150, and that will just give me a basic idea of how far away I am from the airport, and if we have to do a go around or do any weird manoeuvres, whereabouts the airport is relative to us. So we can test the TCAS, that's already set to XPDR.
TCAS test pass.
So TCAS has passed, a V2 speed is 136. There we go. Runway heading is going to be 139. Like so. And I'm also going to set the cruise altitude as our initial altitude because we're not really on ATC or anything. So 380 is going to be the cruise altitude. Let me just try and get control of this so it's a bit quicker. 35, 36, 38. There we go. It's always quite difficult unless you hold down and drag with the mouse button. It's quite slow. Auto brake is to RTO. I'm going to switch on the yaw damper and the window heats. Transfer the APU power. We can switch on the APU bleed. And I might as well switch on the VORs, data and traffic, flight directors, both sides. And I think that's about it. So we're going to go down to the FMC and close some doors. So we've only got the forward entry open. We've not got any cargo open or anything like that. We've transferred the APU power, so really if we switch on the auto throttle, hydraulics and the anti-collision light, we should be able to go ahead and remove the rest of the ground connections like so. Going to set the second FMC to the legs page, and the first one can go to the takeoff reference page. Clear that warning. We can pre-plan the pushback. Simply cannot wait until GSX has been released for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's taken a hell of a long time, but as we know with these add-ons, the longer they take, generally that means it's going to be a better product, hopefully. So let's go ahead and request pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Got the tug coming into position there. Lovely Virgin Australia livery. You can find the link to it in the description. Again, I'm not sure whether it's an official livery. It's certainly not one that's been used as of late. I think this is supposed to be a 737-800 that does this particular flight, but whoever's made it has done a really good job. Again, I can't remember the name of the author, but it will be in the description either way.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Fuel pumps on. Parking brake released.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
So we're looking for 25%. I usually like to just do it around 10. Just speeds things up a little bit. We'll do engine 1 now. Same procedure, we'll wait while about 10 and then we'll let the fuel in. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous views out of the wings, and I'm very excited to show you guys the Landmarks Melbourne City Pack from Orbx. Again, it's going to be sort of a distance look. You're not going to see it up close and personal in this video. It's just going to be sort of an arrival and seeing the cityscape in the background, but nevertheless it's going to be very exciting to see what that looks like on arrival into Melbourne. And what I'll also do is I'll put a link to the actual scenery in the description, so that when it does release, you guys will be able to go ahead and purchase it yourselves. So pushback's almost complete, just waiting for the tug to slow down now.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Okay, parking brake has been set.
Parking brake set. Ground. Startup is complete. You may
So
disconnect.
probe heats.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear to disconnect.
We can
See
transfer
you at
the
side.
APU power.
Have a good flight.
Packs
Holding
can come
position,
on.
waiting for the visual. Thank you
APU
and
bleed can
goodbye.
come off. APU can come off. Engines to continuous. Taxi and turn-offs. And of course we can set flap 5. And we can see those coming down there on the wing. So there we go, that's complete. And now it's just literally a case of the trim. So we're looking at a trim setting of 6.62. So if I can find the keys for it, hold on. There we go. So we need to find 6 and then around just over halfway between 6 and 7. So I'd say that's about there. Quick control check, so full left, full right from what you can see. Let me just get the controls page up. Get a closer look. Full forward, full back, full left, full right, and left on the rudder and right on the rudder. There we go, everything looks fine to me. And I think that's about it. We're ready for taxi, so we can go ahead and release the parking brake. Power up a little. And away we go. Again, the departure out of Gold Coast is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think I've done a video of this on the channel before. It really is absolutely amazing. The beautiful scenery is just to die for. So without further ado, I will catch you with you guys when we're a little bit closer to the runway, because it's going to be quite a boring taxi really, and it's quite a distance away. So I'll catch you with you guys in a minute. Okay, so we're about ready to just roll straight onto the runway, and our departure should be pretty straightforward. It's always a challenge. I've got a twist joystick, so it's always a challenge to control the aircraft, control the views, get all the lights on and everything. So we've got the landing lights, engines to continuous, everything's sorted. Transponder, and we need the strobes on as well, I believe. We'll do that in a second. Where are they? There we go. we managed not to veer off the runway. That's always a positive. So we're going to do a rolling takeoff, so 40% or thereabouts, looking stable. Toga.
Eight
80 knots. Here's V1
V1
and rotate.
V2.
Positive rate and gear up.
Rate of climb.
Absolutely beautiful view there. And I'm not going to leave it too long before I decide to let the autopilot take over, just so I can get some of those gorgeous, gorgeous views. Lock the gear, auto brakes off. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. The view from either the left side or the right side is absolutely fantastic. So we can start lifting those flaps up now. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our departure. I'm going to go ahead and switch off a few things early. Taxi and turn-offs. We're in broad daylight, so it should be alright. I know we don't usually do that until above 10,000, but there we go. I simply cannot get enough of this scenery. Nice steady climb. A little bit over speed, but I'm sure the aircraft will compensate for that in a second. But look at this. This is why I absolutely love Microsoft Flight Simulator. Because the scenery that you get straight out of the box, and I've been saying this for so long, but it's just, you can get this through add-ons and stuff like that in other simulators, but I don't think anything comes close to the power of just the straight out of the box Microsoft Flight Simulator. So coming up on 10,000, we can turn off the landing lights if it'll let me do it. No, I'll have to do them individually. There we go. Engines to normal. And the signs to auto. There we go. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was our departure from Gold Coast. I'm going to leave you guys with some amazing cinematics on the way over to Melbourne. One thing I did forget to do was start the clock, but we'll do that now and just pretend that never happened. So we'll see you guys very, very soon. Okay guys, so we're approaching the top of descent now. It's been an absolutely gorgeous and very scenic flight so far, and you can see one of the radius rings there as well as the top of descent. So the top of descent was around 100 miles away from the airport. This is the arrival that I'm going to show you now. This is Avlasof's EFB, which is what I use to plan everything in the flight near enough. And as you can see, the runway, or the approach, Melbourne is just there, and obviously the approach is very, very close. So Melbourne's going to be sort of on our left-hand side. You can see I've already got the frequency set as active for the ILS. And on our approach on the left-hand side, we'll have an amazing view, hopefully, of Melbourne. So flaps 30 at 132, so plus 5, that's going to be about 137 knots. I always like to use the little memory device there, just so I remember. Saves having to look at the FMC every 5 minutes. And the course is going to be 263, so I'm going to set that on both sides just to be prepared as we begin our descent very, very shortly. I'm hoping the aircraft does automatically start the descent. It should do. We're going to be using auto brake 3 because auto brake 2 is absolutely useless in this aircraft at the moment for some reason, and we can arm the speed brake as well. Moving over to the PFD, we need to have a look and see what the minimums is going to be. To be fair, I might just use the barrow instead of actually putting the minimums in, because I think the elevation's quite high. So we'll switch to radio. That's what I meant to say. I meant to say radio, not barrow. So we'll set the radio to about 200. That's a little bit too far. There we go. And the final thing we need to do before we reach top of descent is to set the altitude that we're going to be dropping to. I'm going to set it to about 10,000 feet. I think the final approach fix altitude is about 2,500, but we'll just set it for 10,000 for now, and the plane has automatically started the descent, so there we go. Now I do believe there is an altitude restriction. As you can see, we are descending, but there is a restriction on altitude of about 9,000 feet that we'll have to sort of program in to make sure that we are at or below 9,000 feet at that particular waypoint. So anyway, without further ado, I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on, closer to the approach into Melbourne. Okay guys, so we're very, very close to approach now, and we should be starting to see straight in front of us, in fact, the scenery for Melbourne, the landmarks pack from Orbx that I've been talking about. Again, we're not going to be like meters away, but this is all part of Orbx's collection of different packs that you can get, and it just makes it look a little bit more realistic when you're coming in and approaching Melbourne, or flying around Melbourne for that matter. It's the Landmarks Melbourne City Pack, which is releasing tomorrow, which is going to be the 10th of June 2022, and at the time of recording this, it's the 9th of June. And we will be very, very shortly approaching it, and we'll be able to see everything from a distance, see what it looks like as we come in for approach. In fact, if we look over the wing, you can see some things are starting to sort of pop in a little bit. Unfortunately, there is some pop in due to the nature of the simulator, but behind all those clouds, we can indeed see Melbourne in the distance, and we'll be able to see it a little bit better in a minute. Now, there is a speed restriction of 230. There it is over there, look. Just in the distance. It's going to be a little bit more visible in a minute. You can see the FPS does keep dipping a little bit. That's to be expected. It's a large area that it's loading in. We've got a 24 knot crosswind at the moment. Hopefully that dies down before we get there. Well, let's take another look. You can just see it, the buildings there on the horizon. And out the wing you can see it a little bit better, look. Beautiful approach though, absolutely gorgeous, look at that. So just checking the final approach speed, it's 131 now, so it's going to be 136 after we add the 5 knot compensatory element. Going to reduce down to 185 now. And we'll also add another notch of flaps. Absolutely magnificent. Looks like water on the wing then, but it was just a reflection, I believe. Another notch of flaps now, and Melbourne City should be at our 12 o'clock, which is just over there, look, just in the centre of the cockpit windows. There it is. I think a wise idea after this particular flight is to get in a small aircraft, like a light aircraft, and do some VFR flying just to show it off. But it does look amazing, absolutely amazing. Fits in well with the rest of the scenery by the looks of it. I believe the airport for Melbourne is just a stock airport that the sim comes with. I don't think there's any payware available yet. But from here, from an approach point of view, in a large aircraft, it looks really, really nice on approach. And one thing I do want to try actually is potentially doing this same approach or a similar one at night to see what the night lighting looks like. But I've always had a soft spot for stuff like this, like cityscapes and stuff on approach. And speaking of approach, we've got the approach, or the localizer even, armed at the moment. Reducing down to 180 now on the speed. And we can drop the gear. Absolutely beautiful. Just getting ready to arm the approach now, so as the localizer and the glide slope both come in. And I'll be trying to get that all set up and ready so that we can get some wing views. So we can continue with the flaps now. Look at that, just over the left wing. And we can go ahead and reduce down now, 160. Just getting ready to arm the approach any second now. That glide slope's coming in nicely. We've still got that pretty strong crosswind. But nevertheless, the approach is now activated. Final approach speed. Another notch of flaps. Looking reasonably stable. And we can go flap 30 now. But there it is, Melbourne to the left of us. Can't see it very well at the wing, but look at that. That's at the cockpit window. Look at all the buildings that entails. There are over 200 custom buildings that Orbx has put into that, and it just looks absolutely amazing on approach. Just going to bug up the heading. Again, we can't really see much over the left wing. Maybe if we were in a different seat we might. And the approach is looking a little bit better. That wind's dropped a little bit now. Absolutely gorgeous. For a stock airport, this looks absolutely amazing.
1,000.
There it is, one last time.
Traffic.
And according to that, we've got traffic, which there isn't any because we don't have traffic enabled. Only on the ground. But nevertheless, we're at 1,000 feet. And I think what I'm going to do is disconnect the autopilot and we can take this manually. So here we go. The aircraft is now mine, looking okay. I am struggling a little bit with the wind, but it's not too bad, it's okay, it's manageable. And there's 500 feet, and it just gives me a little bit more practice in sort of windier conditions.
400. 300. Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue. A little bit low. Just trying to compensate a little bit for that.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Nice firm touchdown, reverses. Again, the auto brake is very, very weak on this aircraft. Manual braking, and we'll take this rapid exit to the left here. Welcome everybody to Melbourne, with a gorgeous, gorgeous approach there, featuring the new Orbx Landmarks Melbourne City Pack, which is going to be releasing on the 10th of June. Going to bring those flaps in nice and early. And then at some stage we've got to actually find out where we're going to be parking. I've got no idea whatsoever. So, engines to normal. Start the APU. Landing lights off. Transponder can come off. And of course, we can go ahead and switch off those strobe lights as well. Or switch them back to the usual position of steady. Going to have to do some MCP cleanup very, very shortly. But nevertheless, I'm happy with that. I absolutely loved that approach. It was absolutely amazing. Beautiful scenery from Orbx. And I cannot wait to get some VFR flying done and see what it looks like up close and personal. After seeing that amazing cityscape or landscape. Skyline, I think, is what the best way of putting it. Lovely Melbourne skyline there. But nevertheless, guys, I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. I'm going to try and find out where we need to park, and then we should be good to go. Okay, so I think I've found somewhere to park the aircraft. There's no specific place that I could find in this stock scenery that takes... Oops, what the hell? Connection lost. Okay. Well, that doesn't matter because we're already on the ground, so I'm sure that'll be fine. But nevertheless, I think it's this particular gate just to the right here that we've selected. A little bit of stuttering there, and that is a terrible line up onto the taxi line there, although, maybe not. Try and get the nose wheel in there at least, on the line. Online services are unreachable. Well, it's lucky that we managed to get here when we did. Bit of harsh braking. Oh, there we go. It's successfully connected again. It's weird. I've never actually had that happen before. Transfer the power. And I need to get the ground power unit connected. So GPU cart, external... yeah, we'll stick with GPU cart. Set the chocks, which will sort everything out. It's connecting the ground power now. Just got to wait for that to be available, which it is. Yep. Wrong way. There we go. cut the engines, clear the warning, and welcome everybody once again to Melbourne. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I cannot wait to get some up close and personal views of the new Landmarks Melbourne City Pack from Orbx, and I'll probably do that with a light aircraft and get some VFR flying done. But this has been a very, very exciting video, very scenic video for that matter, both on departure and on arrival. And if we raise the camera up a little bit and turn it to the right, we should see one last time. There it is. That is Melbourne City over there, just in the distance. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this video, leave me a like and comment on what you'd like to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.